Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Cut the Shit and Cue the Genius, where everybody that's listening in are our geniuses. And we just facilitate the conversation so that we can have this opportunity to cut the shit. I think everybody should be cutting the shit at least once a week or once a day with everything that's happening in the world.
It's therapeutic, isn't
I
it?
think it's cathartic. Like they
Yes.
come on here and they're like, yes,
Medicinal, like I said.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. So we already have our first genius. Hello, Sajad. Sean, I was wondering where you are. And, we have our usuals, which we love. Shapiro is somewhere in the world and he's going to beam in maybe in a couple of weeks or so. He's probably going to pop in right now. But Michelle Bruno, Liz Caruso, myself, Dalia Elgazar, welcome you with open arms and open mouths because this is a very serious topic. We are discussing an e-commerce approach to event registration. We basically want to blow up the registration process. If you have not blown up your registration process, it is about time. And guess what? Shapiro with espresso is on. And Karen, it is complete right now, Bruno. We can just sit back and let them take over. What do you think?
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So
Love
this is this topic. I know that we've been discussing it for quite a bit of time, even before the Corona coaster, because we're like, why the crap are we doing the same things over and over again? And it's about time to take a look at new ways where we can disrupt the event registration process, right? So, Bruno, you start us off. Set the stage, set the dilemma here.
it. So the stage is that everywhere else in the world, not everywhere, but in a lot of spaces, travel is one and retail is another. The e-commerce experience is much different.
Mhm.
And I'm just wondering why we can't incorporate some of those elements into registration to A, make it easier, to B, make it more visual, C, make it more holistic so we don't have to go in and out of lots of different screens and providers to sort of book our whole experience. We should be able to do it kind of from one portal. And I just think the world is changing, but we're standing still.
Yeah.
So that's what I wanted to talk about. Like, what could we do? What should we do with registration to make it more like other shopping experiences?
Well, I mean, a lot of the shopping experiences, they bow to the consumer behaviors, right? And they
Mhm.
bow to them knowing they're consumers. It seems every single topic we do and
Mhm.
every single conversation ends up to one thing. You have to know your audience. But in event registration, if you already know your audience and know your attendees, why the hell are you asking Michelle Bruno and Dalia Algazar for all their details once again?
Right. I mean, I don't know about you, Dahlia, but I am pretty consistent in terms of my preferences for hotel rooms or even flights. I like aisle seats. I like, whatever. Why can't, that be available to me when I go back to an event?
So
There's this thing called the cloud. I don't know if you heard about it, but like it stores stuff, you
I don't
know.
know. It's been raining here tremendously.
Oh,
So
you know
yeah,
about the cloud.
that cloud could be a different cloud. But
Mhm.
let's talk about platforms for a second.
Yeah.
Um, we usually what we hear from clients is that we can't make the registration form too long, or else people will not want to
Mhm.
go through it.
Mhm.
True or false?
That always used to be the complaint or the reason why they weren't that long, but I see my children using a mobile phone for pretty much everything, and they'll stay on it for whatever it takes to get their thing that they want. They'll jump through all the hoops, they'll fill out all the forms, they do everything on their mobile phones. So why can't we, design a system? I mean, it doesn't all have to be on the screen at once. It can be successive screens.
So even if it's not successive screens, have you seen any registration processes where potentially you're getting information from the attendee, but it might be at different intervals? So, like, what if it's basic information, right? In regards to collecting that information that you need, company, whatever, all of that good stuff. And you grab Michelle or you grab Dahlia from the get go, they register. And
Mhm.
then maybe at another interval, you come back with a couple of other questions that can help you with upselling or help
Mhm.
you with promoting a different aspect of the event. It actually gives you breathing room to actually design and create those elements, right? And in between, what if you feed, marketing messages or teasers? Oh,
Mhm.
we're going to be building a VIP lounge, or we are going to be having a little, coffee meetup. But to
Are
get
you
in,
are you in? Are you in? Like
are you
check.
in?
Yeah.
Yes, and get them sort of excited and wanting them to say, yes, I'm in, or like even flipping the script. What would you like to see at the event? Because if there's something that they are going to give you time and potentially money for, and they help create it, or they give you a wish list, then why not take that wish list, get sponsors? I'm making everything so easy because my head
Yeah.
is, that's how I'm wired. But
Right.
like, why does the registration process have to be all done at one time?
I don't think it does. I think it can be done in intervals. I mean, we're doing it now in intervals anyway, right? We have this thing. We sign up for the event, we register, then we go and get at some point our hotel room. It's not usually for me. I don't just do it boom, boom, boom. It's like one day I'll sign up for the event when it's kind of getting closer, or right before the deadline, or whenever. I'll get my hotel room. Then I'll book my airline ticket, or, in whatever sequence. We're doing that anyway. We're going back in on different portals with different companies anyway. Why can't we consolidate this into one thing? And then I don't have to look for my password for the other portal for my registration to pick my, it's just like, please, people. And then, my personal AI assistant will already know all of my preferences, and they'll help in the background to
Right,
know, what it is that I want anyway. So I know what one of the barriers is. One of them is that I think organizers they don't want to tackle this
right.
because they don't want to be on the hook for a poor experience, right?
Well, so
They
Karen
don't want
says,
somebody calling them to go, hey, my flight was late, or whatever.
yeah.
So,
But Karen also calls it out by saying not too many questions on the registration. And that's absolutely true. You don't want too many questions on the registration. Mr. Johnston is with us. Oh, wow. It is hard to get people to return to update the registration. So, Keith, why is it so hard? Is it because it's a boring process?
yeah, I think the incentive's not there. I'm not Keith, but let's see what Keith says. I think
So,
there needs to be an appropriate incentive, or a
mhm.
level of excitement around it. Like, if you fill this out right now, you get a free Starbucks and it'll be waiting for you on opening day, whatever.
But the beauty of the registration, in my opinion, you can turn a registration process into almost like, and it should be a marketing campaign.
Hmm.
So if you look at Airbnb, and they did this well, and then I think it fizzled out somehow. So I don't know what happened there. But when you booked an Airbnb, especially in a city that it's your first time, for example, and
Yeah.
they got you all riled up, and there's all this attractions around you that are happening, the events that are going to be happening around you, and then online experiences. Do you want on, you go into the online experiences and you're able to book, cooking pasta if you're in Italy, for example, cooking pasta with a chef at her house. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that is that type of marketing. And that's that type of turning it into an incentive, turning it into excitement, turning it into viral marketing. Because if I'm going to an event, excuse me, and I'm registering, and there's something more that you're offering me, whether it's a VIP meetup with Keith, Karen, Sean, and Shapiro, for example, I will want to take Liz and Bruno and everybody I know with me. And
Mm-hmm.
so that is an incentive. That is also a revenue opportunity. So I'm trying to figure out, are we creating the obstacle by saying it's too much work? We're too busy. We don't
Mm-hmm.
want to deal with that. But yet, on the flip side, we ugly cry because the registrations are down, or the registrations are. We've dealt with clients at associations where they're like, "Well, we created all these tracks. One is for the marketing person in the team. One is for the office manager. One is for the decision maker, and we want all of them to come." Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so how do you entice a decision maker to say, I am bringing my team with me, other than just saying, I'm giving you a discount for a group registration?
Okay. Oh, we can address Michael's question, but here's an idea to address Karen. Um, isn't the blockchain supposed to be the sort of thing where you upload all this information in terms of your, preferences and things you like and whatever? Why can't registration just tap into your secure blockchain protected account and pull down this information instead of making you over and over and over and over again select the same stuff? Okay, Michael, you can pull that up, Liz, or whoever's running the show here. Not me there.
So, question for who asks for LinkedIn URL as part of registration. So if I speak Shapiro, I think he says when on the registration they ask you for your LinkedIn URL, your Twitter, and your Instagram, if I'm not mistaken.
Or they
And
just ask for your LinkedIn profile so they can pull this information into Reg. It's kind of like an integration.
well,
Yeah, I've
funny
seen
that
that.
that doesn't happen, because when you build your profile on the mobile app, you still have to flip and put your URLs, which is the worst thing ever to do on a mobile app.
Yeah.
So, but Shapiro has a point. Have you managed to use audience LinkedIn info for this kind of personalization marketing opportunity? And of course, Keith Johnston is like, hell yes, it certainly could. He's probably trying to build something right now as
He
a
is.
plugin.
By the time this is
By
over,
the
he
time this
will have built it.
show is done, he would have had the shit done,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not laughing. You probably just popped another like gum of
He would
nicotine
do it.
breath
He
or
would do it
something.
for a really good thick slice of like Chicago or New York pizza. Like you just go here, man, unlimited. Get in the room for like a couple of days. Come back out, fix registration. Here's your pizza.
But here's the thing. If Shapiro is onto something and you ask as an event organizer on your registration for people's like URLs, especially on LinkedIn, to use it for personalization or marketing opportunity, then you really do have to tap into that. I don't say it as a bad thing. You are an awesome, awesome, like, that. Keith, no. So, but the whole idea is, first and foremost, they have to opt in for you to use that LinkedIn profile URL for data or information for them to properly market to you as
Mhm.
a registered attendee. So the keyword here is properly market to you. They can't spam you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they are using that information either on your timeline or on your post or the content that you share in order to really know you and build something around you or build opportunities that will make sense for Shapiro or for Keith or Bruno or for Liz, for example. But here's the thing. The other thing that I'm going to see that we see a huge surge in is if on the registration side they are using your social media URLs, especially your LinkedIn, you now have very deep systems that actually analyze those profiles. They
Mm-hmm.
analyze decision makers, they analyze what kind of content that you use, what kind of company that you are in, and they are able to help you formulate not only marketing campaigns, but also what kind of an attendee that you're going to be. So I'm talking about like two that I've seen so far is Apollo and Taplio. And I do think that registration is not only going to have to turn into a marketing campaign or marketing part of the marketing strategy, it's also going to be part of biz dev for an organization or an association.
I'm okay. I'm just sitting here wondering, Dahlia, could an algorithm, could AI become so good that they would know, exactly what we wanted for a particular event? And then I think of Dahlia, like you can't be nailed down. Every event you go to, you're looking for something different. I mean, there's a few constants, but your tastes are and your preferences and your behaviors are eclectic. Me, I'm pretty much, I like what I like. So
Starbucks in the
I guess
morning.
it sort of depends. But what if you filled out all of this information? It could be lengthy one time. It's stored on the blockchain securely, and these platforms just link to that. And then what the platform can do is just say, here's your big long list. This is what we think you would like, blah, blah, blah. Just check, 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 or change the information or, whatever. And it automatically updates. Something like that would be easier.
I think I think I think that would work, but
Mhm.
I'm gonna my devil's advocate moment because it's Thursday. Have we really asked the attendees, oh, is our registration process too long? Like, have we tapped into an attendee that said, don't freaking ask me any questions? Is that the obstacle here? Because here's the thing, when you go shopping, when you go on Amazon,
Mhm.
or if you go on and let's think younger generation, if you guys have like seen how your kids or nieces, nephews, what whoever shop, do they really get annoyed when they get text messages of, hey, there's a new option here for you. Hey,
Mhm.
there's something like, you're going to Florida. Guess what? We have an underground type of shopping experience that you could be part of, and it's going to cost your mother $550. Guess what
Mhm.
happens?
Mhm.
They go corral each other, and then I get to pay for everybody. But what I'm saying is this is not only an opportunity from a marketing perspective.
Mhm.
This is an opportunity for new events within the event, new experiences within the experience. But I'm just wondering, why do we stop ourselves um, and just go to the same old information on a registration list? I hear you about the blockchain. That could work for sure. But
Mhm.
what I'm asking is, how do you get to know what more can I deliver
Mhm.
to my attendees? And they would be more than happy to pay for it.
Yeah. Here's some other things that I was thinking about is, obviously a more holistic experience, which might link travel, it might link it to restaurant reservations while you're in the city. It
Mhm.
might link to, who you're going to meet. It could all be in this hub. Let's
Yes.
just call it the registration hub. So that's one thing. Uh, in retail, we have omni-channel experiences. We can register, or, we can buy things on mobile. We can do it through social media. We can, do it on our laptops, different devices. So that's something that I think more omni-channel is missing. Um, Recognizing the customer, we sort of talked about that. Also, this idea about making it a more visual experience instead of just a form. I think that would be helpful in terms of, I don't know, helping people visualize what they're getting by signing up for this event. I mean, there's a big move in travel for airlines to be more visual. You want to know the exact seat that you're getting on that aircraft before you upgrade, those sorts of things. So I don't know, we don't have to do it all at once, but we could just kind of start chipping away at making it a more, an easier and more pleasurable and transparent experience.
It could be like an e-catalog.
Yeah.
Like if a registration process was like, a digital, what is it? Like, I don't know
A digital.
right now. But like a catalog.
Yeah.
Like you get to pick and choose, and
Mhm.
and what if it is that way? Does that mean that do you think the big um challenge is that sometimes event organizers don't have everything baked in time, and it's just easy to just put up registration or just say, hey, yeah,
Yeah.
registration's open, get your
Yeah.
basic ticket here, you
Yeah.
know
Yeah. I think that has something to do with it.
okay.
But there's a lot of people weighing in, so it's a
Yeah,
topic, a
I
topic of
mean,
discussion.
Patrick says, hi, Patrick. Patrick says, I think what you're speaking on is 100% correct in terms of how younger people navigate e-commerce purchases and follow-on marketing. True. I think something that's worth mentioning is that the way consumers navigate e-commerce ecosystems is very unique, which I think is a huge opportunity in terms of how it can impact not only event registration, but the events world on the whole. And I wonder if how many organizations that actually create events have someone who specializes in e-commerce
Hmm.
on
Yeah.
their team.
Yeah.
And that maybe that kind of seat should be filled by someone from the outside world of that organization or association from the e-commerce world,
Hmm.
you know?
But okay, here's the thing. Addressing Sean's comment about pressure from the client to get registration open as soon as possible, and they often don't have time to things. The things can just be there already. You just flip them on when the organizer is good and ready. When you have your reg and housing, hooked up. When you have whatever it is else that you want them to, buy or uh, decide upon. It can all be there. You just flip it on when it's time. You
Yeah.
don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you add an element or a speaker or whatever. But yeah, I think everything now is a layered experience. Retail, travel, all of that stuff. It's not unusual to change your mind and go back in and try and change things. Other companies are doing it. You know, I don't see why events can't. And the biggest point that I want to make before we end our discussion is that, you know, e-commerce right now is training us to like or dislike other areas that in our lives already. Amazon is training us to want things to behave differently already.
Mhm.
So we can either be the last holdout on the planet and not do anything, or we can sort of just slowly begin to evolve into what customers already want for their
Right.
purchasing anyway.
Yeah. Um, Liz has a great point. One of the big issues is so many platforms and every event using different platforms. Users are not the same platforms, and that is very true. And also, Liz would love to see how to integrate companies with non-event tech like flights, experiences, etc., because it's a holistic event. meaning it's a holistic process that event organizers are needing to think of. They have to think of it where they're not only selling the event, it's not the check in, check out date. They're selling the experience of the
End to
attendee
end.
coming from, yes, from, airport, even the Uber ride. That's why event organizers at one time tried really hard to get like promo codes with Uber, and Lyft, which was great. Now you probably don't need it. But think of it that way, where it's like you are promoting the destination, you are promoting the hotels that are part of the event,
Mhm.
hotel block, for example, and everything around that, especially if you know your audience, you know that families are coming, or you know that your conference is majority women, for example, that want to run away from their families. Therefore, give them the spa, for example, and the bunny slippers
Book,
and that.
register for this event, book your pedicure right
Exactly.
from the get-go or your
And
massage.
the spas, not only at the 450
Yeah.
mark, but like, different type of pricing and everything. This is partnership opportunities as well. I
Mhm.
think it hurts organizers and those that take care of the logistics. And I am one of those that I remember Regen Housing, and I was with Passkey, and I was with On Peak. And yes, it was mind bending, but in the end, we are at a point right now, whether it's AI driven, whether it's like more partnership driven, where you have to think of, okay, I have 10,000 people coming in for 5 days. How do I extend that to 7 days or to 10 days and really give them everything they would want? Because I know what they would want. And how would I sell it? Because that's what e-commerce is all about. It's serving you up what you don't know you want yet. Like if I
Mhm.
tell Bruno, I'm going to tell Bruno to Tomorrowland when we go to Belgium and we're going to go do EDM music for 10 days, hell to the no.
I am not checking that box. I am sorry.
But if I say there's a really cool, like, hiking trail there and a
Yeah,
spa, you would come with me.
I would. I
Fine.
definitely would.
But see, Keith would come with me on the EDM tour. But what I'm saying is, we have to think a little bit more on a broader scale.
Yeah.
And we have to ask our partners to collaborate together. So whether you're dealing with, a housing platform like Passkey via Cvent, or I don't know, even Rosiata, for example. I was talking to Darm about this as well. There has to be a way where you are truly promoting, and this is what I call dynamic advertising and
Mhm.
dynamic promotions,
Yeah.
where you are promoting to Bruno when she's booking her hotel room, the spa, or champagne at the bar, and,
Sunset.
huh?
At sunset.
At sunset, and then EDM to Dahlia. And it has to differ. And it's all tracked and it's all uploaded, and it's all like it's a revenue opportunity. But it's also an opportunity for you to take a look at your attendees, not only from an experience perspective. And if you ask them, do you want experiences? Do you want more content? Do you want more networking, but like on a smaller scale? That way you are able to create accordingly.
Mhm. So my last question to you, Dahlia,
Uh-oh.
if you could just, when you're registering, have that one box that you could click
Uh,
that would deliver one extra thing layered onto your holistic, soon to be holistic experience, like what would you order for that one thing? I know what it is.
what would I order?
Yeah. So like, do you, it's like, do you want fries with that shake?
Oh,
And
white
if you,
cheddar.
if you had one add-on and you just had to click a box for anything to do with your event, what would you ask to be added on
White cheddar popcorn.
in the hotel room?
Anywhere. Wherever Dahlia goes, it has to have white cheddar popcorn.
That is not what I was going to say. I'm going to say,
What?
how many times have we stood for 30 to 45 minutes in that Starbucks line waiting for the coffee before we walk into the show.
Very
That's got
true.
to be waiting.
Okay. So there's ways around there. Sean, you're absolutely right. But it's very, very true. But the thing about that Starbucks line
Yeah.
is really that's a different session for and a different conversation.
Mhm.
That is the labor and the whole organization of that from the hotel from the
Yeah.
get-go, where they
Yeah.
have one barista and a million trillion people coming at her at all times. And you and
Right.
I
But
have
I've
been
also
at
seen you
Vegas
work. I've
many
also
times.
seen you work that line. You know,
Yes,
it's like,
very true.
hey,
Very, very true.
coffee later.
But I think this whole idea of turning the event registration process into an e-commerce process or strategy,
Mhm.
that can make some organizers say, what the F are you saying right now?
Something there.
And if anybody wants to entertain the thought of like just flipping their registration process, on its head, I know a
Mhm.
couple of people that are listening in that would want in on that conversation. Shapiro and Keith are part of it as well. But if any organizers are listening in, Liz, Bruno, and myself will take it on to flip your registration process on its head.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Okay. I think we've solved another problem. Yet,
Yeah.
we've
But
changed
it
the
is a
pieces
big
yet again.
problem because I honestly think event registration as it exists right now is a turnoff.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So
And the solutions are staring us in the face. We just have to figure out like what the priorities are and how we can get this done. And Keith will build it.
he's already doing Field of Dreams right now. He's
Yeah.
gonna slack us like in 2
T
hours.
minus two.
All right. Well, this has been exciting. Sean is getting me white cheddar popcorn on demand. That will be
Oh,
fantastic.
thanks, Sean. I didn't give
Thank
you
you.
my
Thank you to our geniuses. Thank you to our newbies that have joined the show. Please don't forget to ring the bell on the YouTube channel so that you get notifications for our weekly sessions. And if you have any ideas for topics, rants, raves, if you're bullshit about something, this is the place to be for this, by the way. Just want you to know that.
And we have a very special guest genius next week.
We do. Bruno, who is it?
It is Sean.
I know. Sean Judy's going to be with us.
Sean is coming on the program to cut the shit
Yes.
about generating leads for your event planning business, especially if you're an independent planner, as he is. It's not easy to go out there and beat the bushes for business while you're doing your thing, planning events. So I know we'll have a lot of ideas to share with him, and he'll have a lot to share with us. If not, we'll just sit around like a bunch of old ladies and drink our coffee and, have a good time as always.
Awesome. Awesome. See you guys next week. Have a wonderful weekend. And Liz, Bruno, and myself wish you a wonderful, wonderful rest of the Thursday. Take care.
Bye-bye.